Hey everybody, this is Monica, and we're here for Soul Whisperings vlog. I think it's number 9. Oh my goodness, I'm pretty sure it is. So we're super excited today to have Tori with us. She is a clarity coach and intuitive mentor. She helps women build a feel-good life and business from their intuition through readings, coaching, and online programs. She's the founder of the networking community for spiritual entrepreneurs, the Spiritual Boss Club. And that's how we met through another network, Claim Your Network with Darcy. And I'm super excited to have you here, Tori.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me here. I'm so excited to be with you and chat.
Yeah, so I'm part of the Spiritual Boss Club. I absolutely love the energy from this group.
Mm.
So tell us a little bit about yourself and your journey towards this entrepreneurship that you're doing.
Sure. So I kind of look at entrepreneurship in the road that I've gotten here in a couple separate parts, but one big one is spirituality and intuition. Like my intuition led me to my spiritual path, which really helped heal a lot of the things in my life. And I have, a background with a lot of mental health stuff. And my intuition brought me to spirituality, which helps me heal and then kind of helped me really get in touch with this inner passion I had to help other people heal and help other people connect to their spirituality. And that brought me to start my own business. And through there, I really started to connect with other people who got it in the same way I did. And by get it, I mean spiritually, they get it. They're on the same or a similar path where business to them isn't just about making money or not working for somebody else, but it's really a mission, a soul mission. And it's a part of their journey on earth to not only grow themselves to their highest potential, but also help other people do that too. And so I started out as a self love coach, and self love is still really involved in everything that I do. Um, but I also started the Spiritual Boss Club, less than a year ago, but we're getting there. And that is a networking membership for spiritual entrepreneurs. So we share a lot of those same values, and it's a great place to connect with other people who really also identify as a spiritual person. It's non-denominational, it's not affiliated with any religion, but it's that your heart and your soul are a big part of this path. And so I really love the group because Monica, you and all the other women in there are just so supportive and loving, and they really want to further the earth and the consciousness, collective consciousness of everyone. So it's just a great place to be. And I really just love hosting and facilitating in there.
So one of your stories on Instagram really intrigued me, and I'd love for you to tell a little bit more about it.
Sure.
So there's this picture that you posted of you before you embraced your spirituality.
Hmm.
And then there was one after you embraced your spirituality. Take
Hmm.
us back to that young lady who didn't embrace her spirituality. Take us back there for a minute. And what was the, like, I want to say trigger, or what was the turning point for you where you just because I love that about you. You're just like, this is who I am now. And you just say it might be for you, it might not be for you, you and you're collecting your people, like you said, the like-minded, that we're all here to help support each other. We're all loving, we're all caring. But there was a time in your life when I don't know. Tell us about that.
Yeah, for real. So I think that picture that I sent was a college picture, which college was a rough time for me. I came out of high school with a lot of anxiety and depression. Like that was basically my whole life, and all I really was doing at that point was surviving. And I barely graduated high school. I dropped out of college 2 separate times because I could not function. I couldn't go to class. I couldn't do my homework. Like none of that was working for me. And in that time period, I was really coping with drinking and trying to be someone I wasn't, that mask that we put up, where I was, a straight A student. I was the psychology student of the year. I did all the things perfectly. And I also like dressed to the nines. I made sure that I looked good every day, always had makeup on, always did all of that. So, like, that was the person I was trying to be in college. And at the same time, I was completely burning myself out by trying to be that person. I couldn't deal with day-to-day things, but I felt like I needed to become this perfect person and always show up like that. And so coping, I felt like there was a lot of numbing, and, like in college, there's a drinking environment, not everywhere, but like I was definitely a part of that. And so I was just constantly numbing myself. And I really, really tried to do the right things. I was going to therapy. I was doing all of that stuff. I was trying to exercise all the time, but it didn't really make a difference until I took a look at my life and saw how I was disconnecting from myself spiritually. I was disconnecting from my body, from my heart, and from my soul. And so I found a class. I started to lean more into Buddhism. And I found a class that was, I thought about meditation. And I joined the class, and it was actually an intuition and mediumship class. And I was completely thrown off. So the person who like runs the class, who's one of like my dearest mentors I've ever had, she kind of was like spinning it in the way that it was like meditation and intuition. And I think she probably mentioned mediumship, but I like was under the impression it was just a basic meditation type thing. So was I surprised when I went into this class and she's like, we're going to connect with our ancestors. And I had totally believed in all that before, but never did I think that I had that ability. And so when I went
Mhm.
into there, I was like, oh my goodness, I can do this. And also, it
Mhm.
just completely shifted everything that I thought about life and consciousness. And I started to lean more into that than all those like numbing activities.
Wow. I can so relate to that drinking scene in college and losing myself and putting up that mask. And I feel like when we put up that mask and we, have to be dressed to the, like you said,
Yeah.
you had to dress up, you had to, be that perfect A student, that perfectionism, all that stuff, right? And then I put a shield over my heart, like to protect myself because I don't want to
Right.
get hurt, because I don't want to
Yes.
be vulnerable, because then I
Yes.
might get hurt. And
Yeah.
so I just kind of white knuckled it, right? To
Yes.
do it. I'm so happy though that you did it a lot younger than I did it. I waited till I was 50 till I turned in the mask and took off my shield off my heart. And, now I've been able to meet people like you. So it's so fun. Um, so how did you begin to listen to your soul?
Oh, wow. I mean, I think that throughout the whole process, like even when I was like numbing, and I'm sure you feel this too, like there is still a connection to your heart and your soul. And like that's the person you meet in those like really dark moments where you feel the hope still there. And that was one thing I always had, like, through all of the craziness of, like, leaving school and, like, going into programs to help with my mental health. Like, I just had so much hope that it could get better even though I didn't know that it could. I didn't have the evidence. Um, but once I started to just turn just that little direction to join that one class to spirituality, I was like, this is so much more than I thought it was in the past. And I grew up in a pretty traditional Christian household. And so there was a lot of like dogma. And that's kind of what I knew about religion. And my relationship with God was very rule based. And so when I started this new class and I recognized I get to make spirituality whatever I want it to be, it was like, oh my goodness. It completely opened up the doors, and it just I connected to love in a way that I hadn't before. Unconditional love, not conditional love, which is what I kind of was taught that God was. Um, and so once I saw that, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is the best thing ever. Also, I can I have so much more of a connection with spirit than I thought I did. Like spirit's right here, right now. And I can connect to my passed over loved ones and I can connect to my team and like they're all here for my highest and best. And I didn't believe that before. I thought that I was going to get punished for suffering and like for not for drinking and like all those things. So that brought me further away from my soul. Once I realized the truth is that spirit is unconditional love, like that brought me closer to my soul. And that's where I like to live in now is that unconditional love feeling. Yeah.
Yeah, that's such a different feeling than, a lot of people that haven't dived into this world
Yeah.
don't understand. And they're living every day like in pain and thinking, oh, they're beating themselves up, right? They've got a lot of shame, because it's either good or you're either good or bad
Yeah.
versus, just to be filled with that love and that soul.
Yeah.
So being part of your spiritual boss club has really affected me in ways that you probably don't even know. Um, One of the things, I've got like goosebumps right now just thinking about it. So, one of the
Same.
things that you do in the Spiritual Boss Club is you send out a card reading every week to the
Yes.
collective group.
Yeah.
And you kind of, I've been in, well, I wrote my book about 5 years ago, but the past year and a half, I've been growing my own business, right? And there was something that happened this spring, and I don't know exactly what it was, but it was something about you were like, just follow the next step that lights you up.
Hmm.
And that's your next step. And you talked about, I think there was a stairway in the card, and you were just like, if it doesn't light you up, you shouldn't do it.
Hmm.
Like just
Yep.
this. And I was just like, oh, okay. And so I was just really got in tune with like what lights me up. And so like making those decisions in my business versus, I was kind of scattered. I was like all over the place and not really tuning in. And I was more like kind of focused in on like, oh, should I do this? Is this a good money choice? Like it
Yeah.
was all, it's always based on finances.
Yeah.
So tell us about like tuning in for like a business person, if they came to you and they were just like really stuck in their business, like what does that look like to you?
Yes. Okay. This is like my favorite topic. So I actually came up with this concept. Well, I kind of put language to a concept that already existed last year, and I ran a mastermind about it around it, and it's called the soul spark. And that's like the place within you that is what lights you up. So like the light that lights you up is your soul spark. And that is you're connected to spirit there. It's like you and your human self and your divine self like all coming through. So like the passion we have, the things we want to do in this world, like that's our soul spark. And so when we are following what lights us up, that's like being in alignment with the soul spark. And when we don't, we're kind of just elongating our path. And I never really think that there is a wrong move. Like if you make the wrong move, you're always going to come back. It just might take a little bit longer. Um, but when I see most of my clients, and this is why I'm a clarity coach, most of my clients come to me and they're like, something's off. I don't feel in alignment. I'm confused about something. And so I do readings and I do coaching. And then my one on one is a combination of those. And what we really find is when you're stuck, you're really not being true to yourself. There's always something that's like, oh, I really want to do this, but my coach is telling me to go this way, or my programming is telling me to go this way. And it's just like really hard to break that feeling of I need to do it. And a lot of times your soul spark is like just telling you to go for the thing that maybe you haven't done before. And that's why it's scary, but it's actually the thing that's going to bring you more success and more peace in your business. And what an example of that was what before I started doing intuitive readings, I was only doing the self love work. And I was like, kept feeling intuitively that I needed to bring spirituality deeper into my business. I needed to do something more with my gifts. And I was feeling so stuck. I remember physically feeling off. I was just like feeling so yucky in my business. And then I was like, one day I was like, okay, I don't care anymore. I'm going to just put out readings and see what happens. And when I did that, I had the most sales I'd ever had in my business at that point. And I was like, whoa, look what happens when you follow your intuition and that spark that's inside. So that's something that I really, really love helping clients with because it's so important. And as you see, like it doesn't just bring you success, it also brings you more peace and you feel happier in your business. And like, why wouldn't we want both?
Right.
Yeah.
So you talked a little bit, you mentioned the word programming, and I was a public educator for 32 years, and one of the things is, those young people are being told, oh, you need to go to college, you need to do this.
Yeah.
And like I think like nobody told me I could be a spiritual or a soulpreneur, right?
Yeah.
Like I couldn't, and so like this is such a new time for this, right?
Yeah.
Like, and so just getting rid of that, like, that work day, like that, 8 to 5 work day, way, style of life, that you can take care of yourself more when you're, doing this work. You can really tune into who you are more
Yeah.
so than when you are getting up and doing that job. Not that they're bad. I mean, I loved my time.
Mhm.
Um, in there, but like I worry about what we're telling them in schools. Like
Yeah, yeah,
there is way more to life sometimes
yeah.
than, the traditional route.
Yeah, yeah, I think it's all about just knowing we have freedom to choose, and I think the problem is that most people don't feel like they do have the freedom to choose. I know, I have a couple of friends who are very content in what they do, and I think they would choose it probably no matter what. And at first that was like cognitive dissonance for me because I was like, I must free everyone of the 9 to 5. But for some people that works, but I think the reason there is so much like sadness in the society is the feeling that we're stuck in that. And so to be able to just show people from what we're both doing and what everyone is doing who is a spiritual or soulpreneur, it's like you can have it a different way. You can choose to do things your own way and to heal the world and to heal yourself in like a different way that's sustainable. It does take, stepping out of your comfort zone over and over and over again. I don't even say some. It takes a lot. But
Yep.
it is possible, and the freedom it allows is just incredible. Yeah.
Um, so how do you help others connect to their soul in a meaningful way?
It's really beautiful. I think, 2 of the things that I'm really good at is A, holding space for people. I I feel like I do that pretty consistently in all of my programs, whether that be Spiritual Boss Club meetings or coaching one-on-one. Allowing safe space for people is so powerful, and I originally was studying to be a therapist, and that is something that I still take with me, um, because when you provide a safe space for people to reflect, there's so much power there instead of just, like, telling people how to act or what to believe, giving them that space to be themselves completely is super, super powerful. And then the other thing is I love this so much, but whenever I and you probably relate to this too because you do a lot of readings, but whenever I meet with somebody in a reading, I can feel their intuition activating. And so just by being in the space where we're connecting to spirit, their intuition is growing. They're becoming more connected to spirit. They're becoming more psychic. And that's like my favorite thing because the more I have readings, especially with like people who come in a lot, they'll send me a message and they'll be like, I just got this wild download or I just predicted something. And it's just so cool to see the evolution just from being open to spirit. And that's like one of my favorite parts of doing this work.
Yeah, it reminds me of, you talked earlier about the soul spark. And so I do, yeah, my business is called Intuitive Wellness.
Mhm.
And what I tell clients is, I'm going to use my intuition, but I also want to activate your intuition. And
Yeah.
so, like, I feel like that soul spark, like, we've got it now, we're on fire, right? And then we're going to, start that spark in somebody else. And so
Yes.
I love that. And you have all the tools in your toolbox, right? To share during those readings that you can give, so much information. I love that.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that perspective.
Okay. So let's see. Where can people find you and how could they get involved in your work?
Absolutely. So I spend most of my time on Instagram. It's at Healing with Tori. And from there, you'll find a lot of my links. So you can sign up for my email list. And you can join the Spiritual Boss Support Circle, which is a free call that I have every single Tuesday. We're on a little bit of a November hiatus, but we're coming back at the end of November. So that is a free support circle. If you are somebody who's on this path of finding what you want to do, meaningful work, and you also identify as a spiritual person, come on and join us. And yeah, I think I think that's about it. The Spiritual Boss Club is always open for application. So if you feel like you want to be a part of this community, you can fill out a quick application. That's also in my Instagram, and we'd love to have you.
So I've met so many wonderful people in your spiritual
Thank
boss,
you.
what is it, spirit support circle on Tuesdays.
Yeah, the support circles on Tuesdays.
And
Yep.
then tell us a little bit more about the boss club. So
Yeah.
like, I love some of the meetings that we have during the month. Like every month you do different things. Can you tell us about those?
Yeah. So, Spiritual Boss Club has a group chat. That's where I put in the readings every week. It's also just a great place to connect with the other women, and everyone kind of lifts each other up and hypes each other up. And then we have two meetings a month. One is the club call, which is a networking and get to know you call. That's where we really dive into what we're doing business wise and we support each other. Lots of collaborations and referrals happen there. And then, excuse me, the other one we do, which I love so much, is a manifestation circle. So that's like a little spiritual gathering we have around the new moon every single month. And we talk about our goals and what we want to manifest. And we have a really awesome meditation. And we either focus on like releasing some stuff or calling in new things. And I really like that because I have a big emphasis on like self compassion. So we do some self compassion work during that time too. So those are really fun. And then there's also other things you can do. You can promote your business in the Facebook group. And we have accountability check ins with our coach Alex every month, which is awesome to stay on task. And yeah, it's a great place. I love it.
Yeah, it's such a high vibing group. I definitely love
Thank you.
it.
Thanks.
Okay, so my last question is, what in life do you absolutely love?
Yeah, so many things. Okay. I love nature so much. I feel like this autumn I've just been in complete celebration of the trees. I love the trees. They light me up. Um and water, moving water. Oh my goodness. And then I won't list out all of the things because it's 1 billion things, but I will say bright colors just feed my soul. So my house is decorated with murals and art that's all like beautiful, bright, pastel-y, and just fun colors and a lot of disco balls.
That's
Yes.
awesome.
Thank you.
And where are you located?
I'm in Providence, Rhode Island, in the smallest state.
Awesome. Well, thanks for coming on today and sharing your journey with us and your story about following your soul and your intuition. I just love everything that you do and everything. I just can't even express how much I enjoy
Thank
being
you.
around you and the energy, and it's really helped me embrace my own spirituality and just really take the things that light me up and just go do them, and,
Yes.
and take that step away from that fear.
Mhm.
So thank you.
Thank you so much for having me on. This was awesome.